Welcome back again, students, to the next equipments. What we were talking about size reduction. The next equipment is so helpful for size reduction of very tough material, so called as a pharmaceutical plant-based herbal material. It is very useful for making the grinding powder of that kind of materials. So we are going to discuss about the next meal, that is so called as a age runner meal. Now the age runner meal is work on the principle of cutting. The size reduction is usually done by crushing, so called as a compression, because here in this meal both stone like material is axial rotated radially, where the shaft is providing, and with the help of the shaft both of end of these stone materials are being uh, uh, crushed, the material which is come in between the material bed and the stone. So the size reduction is done by crushing due to the heavy weight of stone. When we talk about the construction of materials, it consists of two heavy roller. I will show you that figure of equipments. Two heavy roller which built with the heavy stone. The two roller are generally rotated on a mud bed which is made up of granite or stone, and with the help of each roller has a central shaft and revolve on its axis. The rollers are mounted on horizontal shaft and move around the bed. So this part is consists of major three component. One is the rotating shaft, stone like heavy material, and material bed. So whatever the material you require to go for size reduction to be added into the bed, the shaft is being rotated at a certain speed, or so called as a optimized speed. So depending upon the property of material, say for example some material are fibrous in nature, some material are from plant source, they are getting in touch and in such a way that the stone and the bed components are come in contact with such a space where the materials are come in contact between two of the part and getting grind, and we are getting finally the size reduction. This is the base which support the material bed while compression, or while putting the heavy weight on the material bed during the rotation of that stone. So both side stones will making the kind of grinding of the material while their rotation. So it's very easy for working. Now you all of you are very easy to understand. So we have to put it the material in such a way that at the same time when the stones are revolve on its own axis, and at the same time the travel around the shallow stone bed, and the material is ground for definite period of time. That means whatever the time is required, optimum time and optimum speed of the rotation is very important for carried out the particle size reduction of so called as a varieties of material depending upon their physico-chemical property of material. So next thing is what are the uses of age runner meal. It is generally, as I told you earlier, it is very widely used for grinding of tough materials. Tough means those material which are having such a tendency, and it again depend upon the type of physico-chemical property. I am repeating this word because physico-chemical property means some materials are fibrous in nature, and although they are very tough, some materials are of solid and they are in crystalline form or amorphous form. So these material will take a definitely the different time and different speed is to required for the grinding of that material. Sometimes there are a few variants which are available by which you can also use more sophisticated meal for chemical and drug for unique size reduction. What are the advantages? The age runner mill does not require the attention during operation. It is very simple operation. It doesn't require any skill, manpower. Only the major concern is the speed and rotation, as well as the time required for size reduction. You may have the some set of things where you can just measure the size reduction within the optimized time is the major concern by the size reduction. What are the drawbacks? So edge runner mill will occupy the more space than other commonly used mill because there are two rotating stone on the axial shaft will take some space, and when we consider for the material bed thickness for making them size reduction. Second thing is contamination of the product with the rotor material is possible because it is open operation, and that will cause the deterioration of the product or external contaminant to be added into the bed path. Milling process is time consuming because sometimes it depend upon the property of material which is going to be crush it down and make it size reduction. So again it will take some time in case of tough and very hard material, and it will take very slow time or less time where the materials are soft and fluffy in nature. Then it is not used for sticky material because sticky material will cause again stick to the stone and will cause the problem during a grinding and will sometimes choke up this mill while the both end of the stones are moving rotated. And energy consumption is very high because the heavy load of stone and the shaft has to rotate it, so it will take more energy for grinding. So these all are about the advantage of this particular mill. It's very easy to say that materials which are of natural origin, majority in the cases for pharmacognosy or so called as a material which is derived from the plant source like root, like stem. So in that cases it will cause some complication during the size reduction. So we must have to assure about the material property before going for size reduction. It is very simple operation, although it requires some specific property. So what the people they are doing sometime material to be having more toughness, very hard, that material should be dried out properly because again what we discuss about their kind of operation where the sticky material is there. So sometime if the heat generation or due to the kind of elevation of the heat, the sticky material like gummy resin may stick with the end of your stone and will cause unnecessarily sticking of the material to be just rotated within the part of your both stone and will cause this operation very complicated. Otherwise it is one of the unique equipment which is very widely used nowadays. Again I want to discuss about the major things which we should take in the precaution that it's a open operation, so there may be chances if the materials are to be added into the material bed that will cause dusting of powder and dusting of some fluffy material. So that care should be taken to avoid any contamination into the external environment where the mill is being installed. So this is what about this edge runner mill. It is very widely used and one can also use it for fibrous and tough material which are specifically involved in the pharmaceutical material, either for herbal based formulation, either for if you are having a hard cake of chemical synthesized drug substance, you can easily use it because this material do not require any sophistication. So this is what the end of this equipments.